Welcome back to XRP Update, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you're watching from. Today, we have a major XRP discussion because something very unusual is happening in the crypto market right now. Investors are confused, traders are nervous, and many people are asking the same question. Where did everyone go? That's why today's headline is grabbing so much attention. XRP, they have vanished. And once we dive into the latest data and market developments, you'll understand exactly why analysts are starting to use that phrase. Before we move forward, do me a quick favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow, helps more XRP holders find these updates, and lets YouTube know you're enjoying this content. If you're part of the XRP community and want daily updates on everything happening in crypto, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. Also, make sure you watch this video all the way until the end because later we're going to discuss a major development that could have a significant impact on XRP. The latest market data showing why retail investors have seemingly disappeared, and the key events coming up this week that could move the entire crypto market. You won't want to miss those details. The crypto market has been through another intense wave of volatility. Just a short time ago, investors watched billions of dollars disappear from the market as Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and many other cryptocurrencies suffered heavy losses. The selling pressure was aggressive, and for a moment it looked like fear was taking complete control. XRP followed the broader market lower, and many investors began wondering whether another major leg down was about to begin. But then something interesting happened. Buyers started stepping back into the market. The panic slowed down, prices stabilized, and suddenly people started asking whether the worst might already be behind us. Now, nobody knows for sure what happens next, but what we're seeing right now is creating one of the most fascinating setups we've had in months. When markets experience large pullbacks, investor psychology becomes incredibly important. Fear starts spreading faster than facts. Social media becomes flooded with negative predictions. Every small drop feels bigger than it really is. Yet at the same time, these are often the moments when smart investors begin paying the closest attention. They know that markets move in cycles. They know that periods of fear can create opportunities. And they understand that the crowd is often the most pessimistic near important turning points. That doesn't automatically mean the bottom is in. It simply means that extreme emotions should always be analyzed carefully. Right now, there are signs that fear has become deeply embedded in the crypto market, and history tells us that such conditions deserve attention. One of the strangest developments comes from market participation itself. According to recent reports, retail investors have largely disappeared from the crypto market. Spot trading volumes have dropped dramatically compared to previous highs. Activity across major exchanges has fallen significantly. The excitement that once drove millions of people into crypto appears to have faded. During bullish periods, everyone wants to talk about crypto. Friends ask questions, family members become interested, social media explodes with predictions. But when markets become difficult, many of those same participants simply vanish. That's exactly what the latest numbers appear to be showing. The casual investors who once flooded into the market are nowhere to be found. Now, I want to make an important distinction here. When analysts say retail investors have vanished, they're not talking about dedicated XRP holders who continue researching, learning, and building long-term positions. They're talking about the people who only show up when prices are skyrocketing. They're talking about investors who enter during excitement and leave during uncertainty. The XRP community has always been different. Many holders have survived years of regulatory battles, market crashes, and uncertainty. They've learned patience. They've learned discipline. And they've learned that markets don't move in straight lines. Those are the people still paying attention today, even when the headlines aren't as exciting as they were during previous bull runs. Another factor adding pressure to the market may be the broader financial environment. Some analysts believe capital is moving toward other investment opportunities. Large institutional investors are constantly shifting money between different sectors. When major opportunities emerge elsewhere, capital can temporarily leave crypto markets. This doesn't necessarily mean crypto's future is in danger. It simply means that markets compete for attention and liquidity. Right now, there are discussions about large investment opportunities outside crypto, and some believe those opportunities may be contributing to the recent weakness we're seeing across digital assets. Whether that theory proves correct remains to be seen, but it's certainly something investors are watching closely. And stick with me because in just a few minutes, we're going to look at one of the biggest XRP signals investors are watching right now, along with the upcoming events that could potentially determine where the market moves next. The information later in this video could be especially important for anyone holding XRP. Despite all the fear, XRP continues showing signs of resilience. Every time the market pushes lower, buyers continue defending important areas. That doesn't guarantee future gains, but it does demonstrate that interest in XRP hasn't disappeared. In fact, many investors remain focused on the long-term potential of the asset. They continue watching developments surrounding regulation, adoption, and institutional involvement. For them, short-term volatility is simply part of the journey. The bigger picture remains the primary focus. And when you look at how long XRP holders have remained committed despite challenges, it's easy to understand why many still believe the asset could play a significant role in the future of digital finance. One of the biggest catalysts investors are watching this week involves economic data. Inflation reports, employment numbers, and other key economic indicators have the power to move financial markets in a major way. These reports influence expectations regarding interest rates and monetary policy. When those expectations change, markets react. Crypto is no exception. Strong economic data can create one type of reaction, while weaker data can create another. That's why many investors are approaching this week with caution. The outcome of these reports could determine whether recent stabilization develops into something stronger or whether volatility returns once again. At the same time, crypto regulation remains one of the most important stories in the industry. Investors continue monitoring discussions surrounding legislation that could provide greater clarity for digital assets. For years, uncertainty has been one of the biggest obstacles facing the crypto industry. Clearer rules could encourage greater participation from institutions, businesses, and investors. That's why every major update on regulation receives so much attention. Positive developments could strengthen confidence across the market. Delays or unexpected setbacks could have the opposite effect. Either way, regulation remains one of the most important factors shaping the future of XRP and the broader crypto ecosystem. Many investors have become cautiously optimistic about the possibility of regulatory progress. Some lawmakers continue expressing support for clearer crypto frameworks, and market participants are paying close attention. Optimism is understandable, but experienced investors know that nothing is guaranteed until it actually happens. That's why preparation is so important. Successful investors don't rely on a single outcome. They create plans for multiple scenarios. If positive developments arrive, they're ready. If unexpected obstacles appear, they're ready for that too. Flexibility often becomes one of the most valuable skills during uncertain periods. We're not done yet because there are still several important XRP developments to cover, including what analysts are saying about the current market cycle and why some investors believe we may be much closer to a major turning point than most people realize. Some analysts argue that what we're witnessing today follows a familiar pattern seen throughout crypto history. During the later stages of market downturns, confidence often disappears. Investors become frustrated. Negative headlines dominate discussions. Many participants start believing prices can only move lower. Yet historically, those conditions have sometimes appeared close to important turning points. Again, there are no guarantees. Markets can always surprise us. But understanding historical behavior helps investors avoid making emotional decisions during periods of uncertainty. Technical indicators are also attracting attention. Several metrics suggest that parts of the crypto market may be approaching extremely oversold conditions. Historically, such conditions have occasionally preceded powerful recoveries. Of course, oversold doesn't automatically mean prices will immediately reverse. Markets can remain oversold longer than many people expect. However, these signals do suggest that selling pressure has become significant. When selling becomes exhausted, markets often begin searching for a new direction. That's why so many investors are carefully watching the coming days and weeks. For XRP specifically, traders continue monitoring important liquidation zones and key price levels. Areas where large numbers of leveraged positions exist can become powerful magnets for market movement. If momentum returns, those areas could play a major role in determining where price goes next. If weakness continues, support levels will become increasingly important. Either way, the setup is becoming more interesting by the day. Multiple catalysts are converging at the same time, and that often leads to significant volatility. The most important takeaway from today's update is simple. Retail investors may have vanished, but the market itself is very much alive. Builders continue building, institutions continue watching, regulators continue debating, and XRP continues sitting at the center of some of the biggest conversations in the digital asset industry. The excitement may not be as loud as it was during previous bull runs, but major developments continue unfolding beneath the surface. Sometimes the biggest opportunities emerge when the crowd stops paying attention. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think the worst of this market correction is behind us, or do you believe more downside is still coming? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's update, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to XRP Update, and share this video with other XRP holders. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, and as always, let's make a lot of money.